you framed it there. You said just get it done. You didn't say get it done perfectly, right? Because
No.
the other thing about procrastination is people are thinking, hey, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It has to be perfect. It has to be the certain way before I go and launch it or produce it or whatever it is. How does one help somebody else? How do you help somebody overcome that perfectionism? Like, how do you go, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. I know that's what you're thinking. How do you talk them through it?
Well, I guess we also then going back to what we were talking about before is understanding how somebody's brain works, right? Because if we know that somebody's more left-brained, more analytical, very more detailed, likes to read the whole manual before they buy a face cream, you know, we know that if they're that person, then there's the high probability that they are going to procrastinate because it's not perfect, because they haven't got the 50-page manual to tell them how to do it. And again, it's just going back to what is one thing that you can start with, and you grow with the one thing. But it is important to identify how that individual's brain, how the individual's brain works. And again, what is the one thing that's going to move them through? I was working with a client once who was very, very, very overweight. She was very, very, very fat, and she wanted to lose weight. And she was procrastinated. She was unmotivated. Everything we've talked about, she just like had oodles of the negative. And I was doing some work with her unconscious, and I couldn't stimulate excitement in anything that I said. So I drew on pictures of experiences that she'd had in life. I thought if she started telling me stories of what she had experienced, then I'd be able to observe what, just like spark that energy in her. And she'd done some amazing stuff. She'd traveled a lot, and she'd climbed pyramids and done all sorts of very adventurous stuff. And the one thing that sparked that bolt in her brain was in a boat going down the Panama Canal, and her and her friend were hanging over the side of this boat. And it sparked that energy, and I held on to that energy to move her through a neuro linguistic exercise to help her get motivated. So it's different for every person. She would have been one of the most challenging clients I ever had, in relation to finding that spark that just ignites that energy that evokes movement.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different for every person, but we've got to identify who they are, how their brain works, and then what is that energy button, call it an energy button, that's going to move them. And of course, we go back to the very beginning. They've got to see the reason to do it. They've got to have that preview. But this woman couldn't, the bikini thing wasn't going to work. Like, who wears bikinis anyway? But, it wasn't about having a slim, trim bikini body. She just wanted to be healthier. And some people just don't, and I'm sure you've experienced this, and I think this saddens me a lot, is that too many people don't know what they want.
Mm-hmm. That is unfortunate. Now, how is CLAM a metaphor for success?
How is CLAM a metaphor for success? Well, I guess part of being successful, what we need to do to be successful is to open up. Be open to listening, learning, letting go of all the crap, and let the good come in. Otherwise, if you keep all clammed up and tight in that shell, you'll never ever ever get to where you want to go.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like the CLAM.